Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. I thank to the examiner lecturer, Mr. Dr. Haji Muhammad Khalid M.Hum, who has given me this occasion to present my thesis proposal with the title An Error Analysis of Simple Present and Present Perfect Tense of Students Writing in Critical Reading and Writing course. Here, I will present 3 chapters. Chapter 1 is refers to introduction, Chapter 2 is refers to literature review, and Chapter 3 is refers to research method. Now, we are going to the Chapter 1. Now, we are going to the Chapter 1, background of the problem. Students who are learning English, especially Indonesian learners, they may face some difficulties in its process. They should understand the rules or grammar of English language. Some of them still get confused even though they have learned about it. This is because Bahasa Indonesia does not have tenses like English does. The only problem is about time. Cisco says that the only thing which differs Bahasa Indonesia grammar and English grammar is only a matter of time. In Bahasa Indonesia, time of an event does not ever change the form of the verb. However, in English, time is very important to determine the form of the verb. When writing in English, people need to consider when the activities happen and which tenses they will use. If the activity happens in the past, it will use past tense, while if the activity happens in the present, it should use present tense. Grammar has an important role in writing. Why is grammar important in writing? Readers usually enjoy reading a text or an article which the content is understandable. When the ideas are expressed in the document, grammar is much needed. In the form of a document, grammar will affect the value of the document. Moreover, if the document is put in the place where everyone could easily take it and read it. So, to take a good writing for readers, students at least should make sentences in good grammar so that the readers will not be confused with the ideas of the text. A good writing needs good grammar skills. Besides, students need to master English grammar. It is important for them because they are going to teach. They are going to be a teacher, a role model for students. So, if teacher explain English materials using wrong grammar, it is potential for the students to do the same thing like what the teacher did. This research can be used as one of the considerations that may overcome this problem. By analyzing the errors that are usually made by the students, focusing on writing and grammar, and providing the correct one, the researcher can help students to learn more. And then, the lecturers could also understand the difficulties that are faced by their students so that they could explain more, focusing on the students' difficulties. Therefore, based on those all considerations, this study will present an error analysis of simple present and present perfect tense made by students of class 11, senior high school, Hiapin Biru. Okay, the second one is limitation of the problem. This study focuses on grammatical errors made by the student, and then the researcher will only focus on simple present and present perfect tense sentences. It is based on consideration that the use of tense for language learners like students is a kind of problem because there is no tense in their language. Besides, simple present and present perfect tense are basic tenses which should be mastered by students in English education study program. The sentences include both simple and complex sentences, but the focus is only on the simple present and present perfect tense, including noun clauses, adjective clauses, and adverb clauses. The researcher selects one class of 11 class 11 in senior high school of Yapim Biru-Biru. This writing course is chosen because this course focuses more on the product of the students' writing, especially on the essay level writing. The researcher analyzes the written work made by the students of class 11 at Yapim Biru-Biru. Okay, the next one is formulation of the problem. First, what types of simple present tense error occur in sentences of students writing in critical reading and writing class? Second, what types of present perfect tense error occur in sentences of students writing in critical reading and writing class? The next one is objectives of the research. First is describing simple present tense errors of students writing of critical reading and writing class 11 of Yapim Biru-Biru. Second, describing present perfect tense errors of students writing of critical reading and writing class 11 of Yapim Biru-Biru. Okay, the next one we have significance of the research. Hopefully, this study can be beneficial for the readers and for those who are involved in English language education study program, especially for students, teachers, and other researchers. For students, by learning through this study, which is about an error analysis of simple present and present perfect tense, in which students usually made, students can learn and understand more how to use and produce simple present and present perfect tense sentences well in writing. In short, this study encouraged students to improve their writing, especially in using simple present and present perfect, by knowing the use of the tenses, especially simple present and present perfect provided in this research correctly. And the second, teachers or lecturer. Hopefully, this study will improve teachers or lecturer in teaching simple present and present perfect tense. Those two tenses is regarded as the most general tenses which can improve students' ability in English learning process. The analysis of the most frequent errors made by the students, especially the use of simple present and present perfect, makes teachers or lecturers pay more attention to it. Realizing this, teacher or lecturers can find the most appropriate way of teaching to make students minimize the errors they make. Okay, the third is other researcher. This study can be used as a guide for other researchers who have the same interest with this study. By learning this study, hopefully other researchers can make better research and improvement according to the future needs. Okay, the next one we have basic assumption. Those two tenses is regarded as the most general tenses which can improve students' ability in English learning process. Okay, the next slide is hypothesis. In this study, the writer formulates the hypothesis of the study as follows. The student who have mastered about grammar, especially simple present tense and present perfect tense, is a good student in writing, and also they could communicate with each other well than students who didn't master the grammar. Okay, now we are going to the chapter 2. It's about review of related literature. Okay, the first one we have theoretical description. In this chapter, I present three parts, namely tense, error, and writing. Learning English is closely related to tenses. Tenses have its connection with time. Error is necessarily discussed because it is closely related to the focus of this study. Besides, writing deals with the process of writing and aspect of writing which influence someone's writing. Okay, in the theoretical terms, I have simple present tense. According to Azar 19 and 99, there are two functions of using simple present tense. First, simple present tense used to express habitual activity or event. Second, simple present tense is also applied to inform something factually. When using simple present tense, the verb that is used is verb 1 or verb plus s. Simple present tense has its own pattern. It is subject plus verb 1 or verb plus s, or subject plus to be is mr. For example, Liliana plays badminton. Based on the example, it shows that Liliana likes playing badminton. She has a routine activity or the activity happens repeatedly. Another example, Diane is an English teacher. It informs a fact that Diane is an English teacher, and until now she still holds her profession as an English teacher. Okay, next I have present perfect tense. According to Azar 19 and 99, states that there are three functions of present perfect tense. First, it is used to express an idea that happened or even never happened before now, and does not have specified time in the past. For example, they have moved to New York. The example does not show any specified time when they moved to New York. It only shows that they have moved to another city without knowing the specified time when they did it. Second, it is also used to express repetition of an activity before now. The specified time of each repetition is not really important. For example, Rini has written 5 letters to his wife for the last 2 weeks. From the example, it informs that Rini wrote more than 1 letter and gave it to his wife. The example does not show the specified time when Rini wrote each letter. It only shows that he has written 5 letters since the last 2 weeks. Third, present perfect tense can also be used to express a situation that began in the past and still continues to the present. For example, Bona has had this pair of shoes for 2 years. The example shows that Bona already has the shoes since the last 3 years, and now she still has it in her hand. The pattern of present perfect tense is subject plus have plus has plus verb 3 or to be. Okay, next I have error analysis. In this study, the writer will do an error analysis of students' writing of critical reading and writing class according to Cook. Cited in Sutor, error analysis was a methodology for dealing with data. Rather than a theory of acquisition errors, here are addressed to sentences that are grammatically incorrect. Van Patten and Benatti say that error analysis is a kind of research which focuses on identifying, describing, and explaining errors of 12 learners. The writer will only focus on simple present and present perfect tense errors. Afterwards, the writer will analyze the sentences and try to give some correction of them. Okay, the next one, I have critical reading and writing. Critical Reading and Writing, or CRW, is a course which focuses on reading and writing skill. In this course, students learn about the process of reading and writing. Critical Reading and Writing is available for students in the fourth semester. Based on the syllabus monitoring comprehension, summarizing, and making a mind map. Besides, this course also encourages students to be able to develop writing skills by generating argumentative essay based on intertextuality, interview, and questionnaire. Okay, then the product of students' writing will be used by the writer as the data of this study. The writer will analyze it and find the errors. Okay, so what's the difference between error and mistake? Regarding this research, which focuses on error analysis, the writer provides the difference between error and mistake. People should be able to differ between error and mistake because it has a different condition. Mistakes are described as a slip of the tongue, in line with what Gathais Jordan 2004 says. Corder distinguish between error and mistakes. Mistakes are slips of the tongue and not systematic, whereas errors are indication of an assumed non-native like but nevertheless systematic. Rule-based grammar. Based on the statement, it can be stated the mistake are not systematic or not repeatedly occur. The one who makes mistake will realize that he just made a mistake. However, errors are different from mistakes. Likely to occur repeatedly, and is also likely not to error be recognized by the learners as an error. Besides, mistakes are also called as errors of performance, while error itself are defined as errors of competence. Error of performance refer to mistakes, and error refer to systematic error, which have relation to the knowledge of the learner. He also states that error of performance will not be systematic, while error of competence are systematic. Okay, next, type of error. Learning English as a second language acquisition makes some students often commit errors. There are 4 types of errors, namely omission, addition, misformation, and misordering. The first one is omission. Omission error is a type of error which occurs if there are one or more items that do not appear in a well-formed of utterances. Any morpheme or word which does not appear like should be can be is as an omission. Grammatic morphemes are more frequent to be omitted by learners rather than the content word. For example, Mary, an English teacher. The sentence is potential to categorize as an omission. Why? Although the sentence is still understandable, it omits grammatical morpheme is for present tense or was on form. The sentence should be like this. Mary is an English teacher. Grammatical morpheme like is word which has a minor role in the case of the meaning of a sentence. Okay, next is addition. In contrast with omission, addition error are defined by the presence of an item which must not appear in a well-formed utterance. They also state that there are 3 types of addition error. Those are double marking, regularizations, and simple addition. Double marking. The tense formation in English rule shows that the tense marker is on the first verb. If there is an affirmative declarative sentence, the tense marker is the main verb. The main verb is the only verb of the sentence because there is no other verb in the sentence, while it is different if a sentence needs an auxiliary. The main verb is not the tense marker. The tense marker is the auxiliary. For example, she doesn't buy the book. They didn't go to the party. The auxiliaries does and did are tense marker of the sentence. However, placing how marker on both the verb and auxiliary may occur toward learners. For example, he doesn't go to school. She didn't went there. Both the auxiliary and the main verb are marked for the sentence. This type of addition error is called double marking. The next one is regularization. Regularization error are those in which a marker that is typically added to a linguistic item is erroneously added to exceptional items of the given class that do not take a marker. This error typically happens among learners in the use of regular and irregular verbs. For example, Budi bought a book yesterday. There are 5 sheep in the field. The verb buy does not become bought, but bought. The noun sheep does not become sheeps in the plural. The plural form of sheep is also sheep. This type of addition error has been called as a regularization. Okay, next is simple addition. There is no specific feature which can be categorized as a simple addition error, or addition which are not categorized as a double marking and regularization. Addition error is not double marking nor a regularization. It's called a simple addition. For example, this is a books. The word books should be book without addition s, because the sentence states that the book is singular, not plural. This kind of addition is categorized as a simple addition. Okay, the last of error is misformation. Misformation errors are kind of addition error which do not have the correct form of the morpheme or structure. There are 3 types of misformation error. Those are regularization error, archiforms, and alternating forms. Regularization error is one of the misformation category, or those in which a regular marker is used in place an irregular one. For example, the word put for put or gooses for geese. It is same case as a regularization in addition error. Okay, the second one is archiform. Based on July 1982, they say archiform is the selection of one of member of class of forms to represent other in the class. The example is an error of using English demonstrative adjective this, that, this, those. Like for example, the phrase that dogs which should be those dogs. Okay, next is alternating form. The use of archiform often gives way to apparently fairly free alternation of various members of a class with each other. So learners may do alteration in the sentence structure. For example, I seen her yesterday instead of I saw her yesterday, or I have gave you instead of I have given you. Okay, next is misordering. Misordering error are characterized by the incorrect placement of a morpheme or group of morphemes in an utterance. The morphemes do not take a place in where it should be. For example, she is a person lazy. The word person is misordered. The sentence should be she is a lazy person. Another example can be seen in this question form. What John is doing? The correct one is what's John doing? Learners may commit this kind of error because they are usual to hear this phrase is doing, so when they implement it in question form they forget to change into the right order of question form. Okay, after terms, error, and then we have writing. Writing is one of 4 skills that should be learned by learners when they were learning a language. Writing is not only a system which completes in the communication, but also it's the main tool for learners in their learning. Writing is easy, but having good writing is difficult. There are several processes and aspects to make a good writing. The first one is process, and then pre-writing, and the last one is writing. The process of writing. To have successful writing, learners requires some steps. There are 3 steps of writing. The first one is pre-writing, and then writing, and then rewriting. Okay, now we will talk about pre-writing. In this step, the learners should have prepared for what they are going to write. Learners should have been ready with the ideas they are going to say. There are 3 important things of pre-writing that writers should do. First, writers are required to determine the objectives of their writing, and then learners need to know why they are writing and what they are going to read through their writing. Second, writers should gather data to communicate the content of their writing. Writers cannot elaborate the content of their writing unless they get the data on them. The final important thing that writers should do is considering the audience. Considering the audience means that the writers can predict who will become the reader of their writing. Besides, the writer needs to understand what their levels of understanding are. It is important because while the writers can answer those questions, they can write based on the reader's need, and it can help the writers to write effectively. Okay, next is writing. After gathering the data and deciding the objectives, the next to do is writing. Students need to draft first before they write all the idea into a paragraph. There are 2 things that writers should do when they start to write their document. First is organizing the draft. Organizing the draft means that the writer should arrange the sentences they should write well and understandable so that the readers can understand and follow what the content of the writing is easily. Next is formatting the text to allow for easy access. After the writers have done the organizing the idea into a good text, they need to consider the text is acceptable for the readers. In other words, the look of the text or the document is also needed to invite the readers. Okay, the last is rewriting. The final step of writing process is to rewrite the draft. The writing can also be called as a perfecting step. In this step, the writers rewrite what they have made in writing step. According to Gerson, 2003, to rewrite, you need to revise, and revise again. They also state that people who write a document effectively must realize that there are several processes before it needs a second or third write. Okay, after process we have aspect of writing. Having good writing should refer to some aspect of writing. One of the aspects is grammar. Okay, there are the terms in English. Okay, there are the terms of theoretical description, and now we are going to the theoretical framework. As the framework, the writer elaborates some theories which help the writer to answer the formulated research question. This research is decreasing the errors of students' writing, focusing on simple present and present perfect tense. The researcher used the theory of simple present and present perfect tenses from Azar 1999 to analyze some errors which were made by the student. To answer research problem 1 and research problem 2, the researcher used theory types of error from Dulay, Burt, and Krashen, 1982. According to them, there are 4 types of error. Those are omission, addition, misformation, and misordering. Those 4 types of error were used by the researcher to analyze the error students made in their writing. Then, since the research focused on the errors made by the students, the researcher gives some explanation about the difference between error and mistakes. The error usually occurs to a language learner. It is related to the language structure and happening repeatedly or systematically without being known by the language learner. Mistakes are also called as an error of performance. Okay, now we are going into chapter 3. In this chapter, I will focus on research method. Since the writer was analyzing simple present and present perfect tense error of students' writing, this research used document analysis as the research method. Document analysis, which is also called content analysis, is a kind of research method that deals with records or documents as the research data. He also states that one of the purpose of document analysis is to analyze the type of error in students' work. Besides, the document analysis focuses more on analyzing and interpreting recorded materials within its own context. This research method was conducted to get data on an error analysis of simple present tense and present perfect tense sentences of students writing in a critical reading and writing course. Document analysis is one of the research methods that is included in qualitative research. Qualitative research deals more with words rather than with numbers and symbols. Okay, now I have research subjects. The subjects of the research were the critical reading and writing students, mid-test 1 document of class 11, senior high school at Biru-Biru. The mid-test 1 contained the students writing about argumentative essay, and the entire documents are considered as the data of this study. The writer took all of the documents of critical reading and writing class as the subjects. The writer chose critical reading and writing class because it is a course which focuses on the product of students' writing. Okay, now I have research instruments and data gathering technique. Since this researcher was using qualitative research and the method was document analysis, there were 2 major instruments of this research. Besides, the researcher also used table analysis to support the data findings. Okay, now I have data analysis technique. The writer used several steps to analyze the data. Meanwhile, the detailed process of the data analysis technique can be noted as: first, the writer found the sentences which were categorized as a simple present and present perfect. The writer lists the sentences and differed between simple present and present perfect. The writer then lists all ungrammatical sentences found in simple present and present perfect. Next, the writer corrected all those ungrammatical sentences and discussed further. The writer classified the errors of the sentences into some types of error. The writer used the theory from Dulay et al. 1999 and 82, who state 4 types of errors in writing. Those are omission, addition, misformation, and misordering. Then the writer presented all types of error of simple present and present perfect tense, which were found in the data students made. Okay, next I have research procedure. There were some stages to conduct this research. The researcher formulated into 5 stages. Those are finding the problems, and grounding the theory, designing the research method, collecting the data, analyzing, and the last was reporting the results of the research. Okay, this is the end of my presentation about my proposal thesis. Thank you for Sir Khalid for this occasion. Hopefully this is be a useful thing for others. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.